Alright guys, this is it. It's here. The OP 1944 1K full collection tour special. So I'm just going to be going over my full collection, leaving no stone unturned. It's going to be a pretty long video, but before we get started, just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for 1K subscribers. It's been something I've been grinding 4 years for now. It's a huge dream of mine, and I'm super happy this could come true, and thank you again for all your support, and I'm super excited to grow the OP 1944 community in the future. So without further ado, here's the video. Before we start the collection tour, I just want to say there's a tree being trimmed outside right now, so if there's any background noise, I'm sorry. This is very inconvenient. They kind of just pulled up as I'm filming this. So yeah, sorry about that. Okay, starting off over here, these are some things I wanted to get out of the way. This was from the flea market. This is a 1945 license plate from New York. And then over here are the stamps. I'm sure you've seen these before, the collectible stamps. This is the 1942 set. I just thought it was really cool, so I framed it. And then down here are some models. These, if you don't know what these are called Dinky Toys. They're like a company that was very popular in the 50s and 60s. These are models of British vehicles from World War II. And then these guys, if you're a World War II, World War I collector, you most definitely know about these. These are lead soldiers that were sold pretty much, I'm assuming, only in America. But yeah, these are super cool lead. These are from the 1930s. They're getting a little harder to find now for good prices, but these guys I think were about $5 each. I'm not gonna say the prices of everything throughout this video, but if it's worth mentioning, I will. This is a record player. It's not historically accurate for the 40s by any means, but it's kind of got that look. That's why I got it. Let's see. Yeah, I do have a Glenn Miller record on here. Then I've got some other records of bands I like, and Glenn Miller down here, 40s, big band music. Thing I almost forgot to mention here is this is a P38 can opener from Vietnam. This was my grandfather's. And up here, there's some little models of, we got a W190, and then a Stuka. I think, I don't know a ton about German stuff, but if I remember correctly, this is the Eastern Front camouflage. And then some little models of Tiger and Tiger 2. Up here is what my friends call the Coke Shrine. So this is my Coca-Cola soda bottle collection. So I've got like rare, discontinued, old bottles and stuff. I won't go terribly in depth because this isn't really relating to World War II, but this is a huge part of my collection. And yeah, so this here's a Coke bottle from the 1890s, I believe. It's super heavy. If I remember correctly, these have lead in the glass. That's why they're heavy. Here is a Coke bottle from Disney World. It's like the Star Wars area. This is from Canada. It says original taste in French. And then these are like Coke bottles, probably from the 90s, 80s or 90s. And then this mug. This is an original 1940s Coke glass that I filled with Coke and put a cap on. I don't think it's like airtight sealed, but you know, I just thought it was cool. More Coke bottles from the 90s. These are original 30s, 40s, and 50s Coke bottles. I can't tell you exactly when, but then this one's special. I marked it because it's from Buffalo. And then up here, we got the new Mountain Dew can and the old Mountain Dew can. Just various bottles and stuff that I've collected over the years. This is an opened can of Sierra Mist, and then this one is sealed. R.I.P. Sierra Mist. And this is just a bottle of Coke up here. This Sprite is unopened, but it's empty. And then there's like old Pepsi bottles. There's a Pepsi bottle from the 40s or 50s back there, I believe. This is another one of those Sprite cans. This here is a Pepsi bottle I found in the woods at scout camp. So yeah, I thought that was really cool. Up here, some crappy models I built. Not too great. I've been trying to build up my skill, but yeah. Here is a Brody helmet. I believe this is World War II. I've asked some of my subscribers before, and they've said this is World War II. So yeah, I repainted it because it was like all rusted out. This is not the correct color, but I don't know. I'll probably get the correct color someday. But I got this for $25, and I literally could not let it go. I could not walk away from a $25 helmet of any kind, really. But yeah, super cool. The liner, I believe, is replica. I can pull it out. So this is what the liner looks like. I've been told this is a replica of the World War II style liner. I do not know how true that is. Could be true, could be not. But yeah, pretty cool Brody helmet, and for 25 bucks, you can't pass it up. Okay, moving on. These are a bunch of 45 records, then a bunch of more 45 records. And here are my boots. So these are the only 2 pairs of boots I own for World War II. So these are the service boots I've recently got. They're finally starting to get a little dirty. Yeah, so you've seen these in my videos quite a bit recently. Yeah, not too much to say there. Up here we have my M43 buckle boot. Boots. I have the set, but yeah. The boot dubbing does not like to stay on these boots. I'm not gonna lie. I just dubbed these like not that long ago. They seem fine now, but probably in a little bit they could use a redub. And I've had people ask me recently what these shackles are for. They call them shackles. So if you're watching this right now, these are for just like more support. Instead of wearing gaiters, you could wear these and not have the hassle of putting on gaiters. These boots are just overall better. Not really shackles, just buckles. Down here, this is an M16 Stahlhelm, and I'll have to pull this out and open it up. Okay, so this is a vintage suitcase that I got at a garage sale, but what's inside of it is the infamous OP 1944 Life magazine and Yank magazine collection. There you go. So I'll pull all these out now, but yeah, so we got Yank magazine of a B-29 getting loaded up. Another Yank magazine. These are the ones I got recently. This is of one of the first jets that the U.S. produced, with some P-39s up there. Another Yank magazine featuring a civilian Jeep being used on a farm. This one is of a guy drinking some Japanese wine. This guy's on a camel. This one of my favorites, right next to the B-29 one, is of a soldier in, looks like in the Philippines, somewhere in the Pacific Islands. Here's just some other documents I stored in here. This is pretty cool. This is a ground observer's guide from I forget the year, I think it was 1953 maybe. It was dated in here. Yes, 1951 this is dated. So basically it's a ground observer's guide to planes of the early Cold War. So you got all kinds of British, American, Soviet planes in here. Yeah, but one thing that I thought was really cool about this is when I found it, I found this card in here. And this card is, it says, "To whom it may concern," and then it says the name of the guy, "is a volunteer with the Ground Observer Corps. After 18 hours of instruction, the bearer will be issued a civil defense card and button. This card permits admission to the tower." And then it says it has the signature of the post supervisor. So I'll give a close-up of that here. But moving on, these are some pictures from my grandfather's service, pre-Vietnam and during Vietnam. Again, these are some pictures of JFK. I'll do some close-ups. To the best of my knowledge, these are not out there. So the story is these were given to him by a woman who worked at the Air Force Base that was a little sweet on him. So these here are receipts from the 1800s. This one's a little eerie. It's a little, I don't know, it feels weird to have. I'm not even gonna lie. So this is a newspaper from 9/11. My history teacher gave this to me. Yeah, it's really grim. It says "Grim tally of death underway." This was issued September 12th on 2001. So yeah, it's pretty morbid, but a piece of history nonetheless. Here, I'm sure you guys seen this in the series. This is a special issue USSR Life magazine from 1943. Just another Life magazine from 1943. Nothing too special on the cover, just some ladies there. Here's a magazine from 1943 again, but this magazine has a P-47 Thunderbolt on it. This one is from 1954. I don't usually get these, but it had a rocket on the front, and I thought that was really cool. This one is from 1943. It's a picture of Queen Elizabeth, or in this picture she was Princess Elizabeth. Here is a very famous picture of Private Teed from 1942. The Queen Elizabeth one was from 43. Here we have General Eisenhower, 1945. If you guys want to see real close-ups of all these magazines, you can go check out my playlist. It's titled Life Magazine Videos, I believe. And they're all close-ups of these. This one, Victor of Bismarck Sea, 1943. I do not know the story behind this picture. It's in here, but I don't know the story. This one's from 1943 as well. If you can't already tell, I have a lot from 1943. These are two kids in uniform. Here's two ladies on the cover here, 1943, yet again. 1943, Montgomery Beret. This is probably getting a little boring, so I'm going to try and speed it up. Invasion Deputy, Air Chief Marshal Teeter. This is from 1944. PT Skippers, I'm assuming like PT Boats. This is from 1943. And Mountain Trooper, the Final One. This is from 1942. This is the first Life magazine I ever got. But yeah, that is everything in this suitcase. I forget if there's anything in here. Looks like there is. What do we got here? Oh, those are some personal pictures. But this is a basic field manual soldier's handbook from 1941. Pretty cool. Alright, let's move on. Over here on the wall, this is where I keep some shell casings. These are all 50 cal shell casings from 1943. Some of them have never been fired, but they're deactivated. And these are just 30-06 shell casings I've fired out of my Grand. And then Coke signs. This is a propaganda poster, war bond poster, whatever you want to call it. And then this is an Epiphone Casino. I'm a guitar and bass player. This is the same guitar that John Lennon played during the end of the Beatles career, you'd say. This is a Hofner bass. This isn't like the exact one Paul McCartney played, but it's pretty close. And that's a Fender Telecaster, but nobody cares about that because it's not World War II. And now we're finally going to start to get into some web gear and other World War II specific items. So here, I'll pull everything off here. This is medic bags with the yoke straps. That's what I use for my medic impressions. These are replicas. There you go. GP bag, or general purpose bag. You guys have definitely seen this in my videos. Lightweight gas mask bag. Also definitely seen those in my videos. And here is an original medic bag. This one, I bought this one because it's kind of special. Someone sewed this on, or that was sewn on, like, that's how it was. I don't know, but I got it for that reason. Alright, so inside the GP bag here, this is where I keep all of my personal items for the most part. Not all of them, but most of them. I'll pull everything out and go over them. Okay, so I've definitely made videos about these before, but this is my ditty bag. With personal items in there. I'm not going to drag them out. You can go watch the video if you want to see those. These are at the front GI socks. And this is them folded up. Right here we have 2 pairs of original Army boxers from 1945. One of them I got at D-Day, Ohio, and one of them I purchased off of eBay. Yeah, so that's the eBay one. This is D-Day, Ohio. I've also made a video about these before, so if you want to go check that out, you can. Next over here, this is my rack of jackets and coats and sweaters. Back there, we're not going to talk about what's back there. It's a lot of random stuff, but I guess the only thing worth mentioning there, I'm going to zoom in, you can see it's a 1950s Air Force visor cap. But yeah, alright, so here we have an at the front tanker jacket. I've made a video about this one before. Like a lot of this stuff in my collection I've made videos about. Here is a original M43 field jacket. This is one of the greatest finds of my life. Like I said, I'll only mention the price if it's like worth mentioning. This was $40, which is insane. Here is my M37 wool tunic. Very common in my videos. Pull the next thing out here. What do we got? At the front sweater. I'm gonna stop showing everything in here because it's quite a mess. This is an at the front M41 field jacket. at the front, HBT. Original early war greatcoat. This is another one of my better finds. This was $15, believe it or not. And here, so this right here is another M41. This is Miltech M41. I wrote on the back of it like Band of Brothers, or not Band of Brothers, Saving Private Ryan. This one I grew out of, which is alright. Here, this is a Vietnam item. I believe anybody who's a Vietnam guy in my comments, please let me know what this is. So I'm just assuming this is Vietnam era. This is a gift from my friend Ray. Shout out Ray. Yeah, pretty cool. It looks very similar to the M41 field jacket. You know, when you have a great design, just run with it, I guess. And here, the worst $60 I've ever spent in my entire life. So, I'm gonna make a video about this probably someday, but this was an M41 field jacket I got scammed on. What I thought was gonna be a real M41 field jacket actually came as this. It's like a synthetic garbage. It's like, oh God, I hate it so much. But I wore this to D-Day, Ohio one year because I didn't have anything else. But it's terrible. I hate it so much. Yeah, so make sure you don't get scammed. Do a little more research before you buy something. But to be fair, the picture looked just like a real M41, so, you know, I don't know. This is my dog Casper. He wanted to come say hi. He's an old guy. He's going bald. It's really sad, but, you know, he's really old, so. Alright, see ya, Casper. Okay, now that the jackets are out of the way, we can move on to this area. So, starting off here, we have a cheap Amazon helmet that I kind of turned into a better looking one, just through a little work. Yeah, and I threw some mud on it for a video I did not too long ago to try and replicate a picture. But yeah, in here, this is just like, I store model paint, like little tiny military trucks, like the Johnny Lightning ones. Here, what do we have? So we got a clicker, like a cricket. And Esbit fuel for videos about when I do cooking on the Esbit stove. Up here, little tiny Battleship Missouri, I think. We don't talk about that. That was a school project, but behind it's a Coke bottle. So here, this is an end block filled with fired rounds out of my Grand. This is American coins I've separated, by decade and type. So, like, say we want to go to 1940s pennies. Here we go. Bunch of 1940s pennies. I've also made videos about these before, but I have a pretty substantial coin collection. I do have 1940s quarters, I just don't keep them in there. Yeah, so like, I have a lot of 1960s quarters though. Not a lot of 50s quarters. I have a lot of 70s quarters. Ton of 80s quarters. Like gazillion 90s quarters. 90s pennies, 80s pennies, tons of 60s pennies. 50s, what do we got in here? Yeah, these are nickels and dimes. Bunch of those from the 60s as well. Not a lot prior to 1964 though, because a lot of those were melted down for the silver. Up here, this is actually something I've not talked a ton about on my channel. This is my EE8 field phone. So I'll bring it down here. So this one is original from 1944. This this was shipped from Hawaii, actually. Bought this on eBay. So there we go. There's the phone made out of Bakelite, I presume. And basically how it works is you throw some batteries in there and you pull this thing out here. This little fold out handle. And then you crank it. You usually need two hands, but let's see if I can do it with one. Yeah, okay, so you crank it, and there would be a wire connected here, and the wire will go to a switchboard. This will ring a bell when you do that. It'll go to the switchboard, and then the operator will go, where do you want to go? And then you'll get put to where you need to go. So, yeah, the date is in here. Let's see if I can get the right lighting. You can kind of see it in there. Just barely. It says 1944. But, yeah. Signal Corps, U.S. Army, telephone EE8. Alright. And it is relatively complicated, I must say, to put back together, like, properly. Because you kind of gotta, like, get it just right. And then, this one, for it being, 80 years old, it's fine that it doesn't close all the way, I guess, but, yep. And I got this for $70 through a bid on eBay, which is not terrible. But I got it a while ago, and surprisingly, the value on these has dropped a little bit. This is my favorite helmet that I use, like, all the time for everything. This was a cheap Amazon helmet that I, like, converted when I was very young, actually, and it's to this day my favorite one. I used sand instead of cork, and it worked out well. And then this is the Normandy head net, or helmet net, that they would use. So yeah. Over here, this is a replica German grenade. Very cheaply made, not to weight, but, it is what it is. Gas Broussard. Another Yank magazine. The Army Weekly, 1944. Last 3 days of infantry march. I don't know what the last word is there. But I got these because it has the GI sunglasses in his hand right there. And this guy back here is actually wearing them, which is cool. Yeah, and then this patch here, Gary Owen, again from a family member. Up here, this is a original, I'm not going to pull it down, but this is an original 50 cal ammo box. Does not have a date, but I just know it's from that time period. Like, this is a modern one. Here, these are Soviet toys. They say stuff in Russian, but yeah, Soviet toys. These are obviously World War II here, but I don't think those back there are like World War II era. Then these are more dinky toys of British planes, I believe. That doesn't look like the British flag. I don't know. Here, it's a whitewashed M1 helmet. This one I did like more of a permanent whitewash on it, so it won't come off really, but this is just for videos about the Battle of the Bulge, which I do a lot of. This is a medic helmet. This is actually an original shell, I do believe. That's what the guy who sold it to me told me, but I don't know. You can never really be sure. He said it was an original shell that he restored himself. Makes sense, because this is way better than anything I could do. Down here, I've showed this off in videos before. This is my Ration station. So crackers back there, Necco wafers. There's crackers in there actually. Cream cut pipe tobacco, but I keep bouillon cubes in there. Hubbard's shoe grease, stand in the door 1944 grenade, cheap Chinese grenade. These are original Davis emergency equipment co things like from World War II. This is what kind of things medics would carry. I actually have the full set of these like in replica form. So there's some original triangular bandages in there. Or no, just regular bandages. But yeah, they're actually in here in the medic bag. But okay, I opened the wrong one first, but yeah, this is what like the replicas look like. I got a bunch of these. I do believe I've made videos on those before, but I don't know. Here at the front, sewing kit, super helpful. These are just rations I made, like Spam and like Vienna sausages and pineapple and such, corned beef. This is the Esbit burner I use in all my videos where I cook. This is not technically historically accurate, you know, like everybody using them, but you could just say you captured it off a German. Here is an original Carlisle bandage pouch, tin, unopened. I have two of these. One of them's in a Carlisle bandage pouch somewhere. This is a model of a B-24 I made, Buffalo Bill. I think this one's probably the better of the ones I've ever done. Came out really good. But it's sitting on top of an original grenade casing. So if you don't know how it works, grenades would go in there and be shipped across the Atlantic. I open one up here. Yeah, so it would go in there. Look how satisfying it is to put this back on. It just goes like... fits perfectly. Here in the way back is a East German canteen that I used to use when I was very, very young. Didn't know anything about World War II in the grand scheme of things. And I was at a military surplus store and the lady was like, I asked her, is that a World War... like, you know, I was young. I said, is that a World War II canteen? She's like, oh, yeah, for sure, bud. It's obviously not a World War II canteen. I'm pretty sure it's East German. But, because the reason I think that is because it has the same kind of pull mechanism as a lot of World War II style canteens. So basically that comes off. Pull that out. And boom, there's your canteen cup. And then in here is the canteen. I used to play in the backyard with my friend when I was real young with this, and it would sit out in the sun all day and would heat up and get disgustingly hot. I haven't taken a look in here. It's always had this smell, but I used to drink out of this thing. Hang on. Ooh, dang. That is intense. That is quite the smell in there. That's disgusting. Alright. Moving on. Let's set that aside. I'll put it together later. That's actually gross. Okay. Moving on. I think I went over everything up here. Actually, there's a World War II interior guard duty book back there. I don't know why I bought that, but yeah. So these are original helmet scrim pieces of burlap. Not too much to say there. Replica Colt 45 case with an airsoft gun in it. So yeah, that's what it looks like. That is not real. That is an airsoft gun. YouTube likes to think that things are real when they're not. Alright, so this is the tank top I use for reenacting. It's not accurate, but it does the job. Yeah, I'm looking to replace it soon. Hopefully this, like, around Christmas time. Yeah, so this is a HBT cap from at the front. Paratrooper map of France. These are original canteens. So that one, if I'm remembering correctly, is 42. And someone carved their name in there, which was cool. Davis. Oh, 1945. I was way off. Well, there you have it, 1945. Maybe the canteen cup's 42. This is the medic armband I use for my videos. This is a canteen cup I used to use. I use an original one now. And then we got a knife in there. That one's original. Here, this is a Garrison cap from at the front. Original. The date is super faded. I want to say it says 1944. It does not pick up on camera at all, but there's a faint 4 at the end. This one was like $2 or something, which was insane. These are the gaiters I'm currently using. They're they're like a weird color kind of, but they work fine. But these are the gaiters I replaced, those replaced, that I used to use. They're a little big on me. I didn't love them. So, yeah, I just needed them replaced. Here is a minor surgery kit from Vietnam. It's complete on the inside. Just wait, I'll post a video about it someday. Yeah. This is a wallet, not original to World War II, but it looks old. Medical tags, so if you don't know how these work, they fill this out. So there's all kinds of information you gotta fill out, and then they would rip it off, tie it to either a dead guy or someone who's wounded, and then whoever was the corpsman, that was like, or GRS who was cleaning that up, had some information. This is an original cleaning kit for the M1 Grand, or just a cleaning kit. It could be used for the bar, the Springfield, anything. Sorry, my dog was going crazy downstairs. But anyway, moving on. Original M1 Grand bayonet. You've seen this before if you're a long-time watcher of the channel. And one of my most viewed shorts is actually about that. Moving on. This is going to be a pretty long segment, so if you don't care about coins, I suggest you skip ahead. So, inside here, I have, this is an original postcard from World War II, Germany. So there you go. It's got the Feldpost marking on it there. It's dated 41. This is a Belgian franc that was printed under occupation, which is also really cool. Zimbabwe, $100 trillion, so $100 trillion bill. If you don't know anything about the Zimbabwe hyperinflation, basically, they just had a severe hyperinflation, and their money system collapsed, and they had to be backed by the US dollar. What's in here? I think these are Mexican coins. I'm not going to go over every single coin, but, like the first one I grabbed. Argentina, 1948. Nobody cares. Actually, you know what? Maybe this was held by some top general of the German army post-war. This contains lots of $2 bills, apparently, and $5 bill from 2001. Alright, so here we got 1941 nickels. So basically just mint condition coins here. And then a Japanese invasion dollar. So, silver stamp from 1935. So if you don't know what silver stamp is, basically back in the day you could just go turn this in for silver. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. So another Japanese peso, red stamp $2 bill from 1953. This is a 1976 United States proof set. So basically these things got sealed in 1976 in like mint condition and haven't been opened since. Again, sorry about the noise outside, it's extremely annoying. This one I got at the flea market recently. This is a stamp of Hitler, and it's a Reichspfennig. Here, this is really sad, but this is a 1943 steel pennies that are really rough condition. I don't know why they're like this. Like, someone must have put some kind of like solution on there to try and clean them up or something, but these are from all the different mints. Here we have more Reichspfennigs. Here I was taking flack the last time I posted about coins like this because I called them Nazi coins. I'm sorry, but that's kind of what they are. They were printed, or they were minted under the Third Reich, making them Nazi coins. You can call them Reichspfennigs, you can call them Nazi coins. It's whatever. But when you say Reichspfennigs, you're saying Reich, like the Third Reich. Anyway, John F. Kennedy, presidential pin. These are my wartime quarters. These are super cool. So, I think I'm missing 1 year. I have 45, let's see, 45, 44, 43, 41. I need 42. So, I'm missing 1. Moving on, we have a ton more coins. Surprise. This is just a tray of like various loose coins that I had in here. But the wartime one here, we have a Liberty $50 from 1942. And then there's just like a bunch of pennies. There's an Indian head penny in here from, what year? 1901. Coins don't really like to show up on camera. It's kind of sad. But they're not really made of silver. So, here, this is a Great Britain penny from 1831. More Reichspfennigs or Nazi coins, whatever you want to call them. It literally says Nazi coin right there. Okay. More coins, more coins, more coins. A lot of different coins. I can make a whole video about this, honestly. I'm not going to take up too much time. We got a lot of French coins from wartime. This is a big bag of pennies from 1919. More various coins, more coins. Let's see, this is a wartime Mercury dime from 1943. That one's cool. 1944 from Spain. More coins. I do have a couple of Roman coins. This is what that is. This is a Roman coin. This is Indian head penny from 1888. My bad. 1962. More coins. Let me know in the comments if you want a detailed tour of my coin collection, because I can definitely make that happen. This is a ambulance medal from Pine Camp. Wait, what does that say? Yeah, Pine Camp, NY. So if you don't know what Pine Camp is today, it's that is Fort Drum in the Adirondacks. This is from 1911 about an infantry ambulance company and field hospital company. Yeah, tons of coins. A bunch of them are from World War II or that era. I have a bunch from pre-World War II, and I have a bunch from post-World War II. Basically, when it comes to coins, I just pick up whatever I think's cool. And that's a lot of stuff, unfortunately, for my wallet. So, yeah. Moving on to this rack over here, we have an original canteen cover and canteen. This is from World War I. Yeah, this is from World War II, and then I believe that was probably used post-war for something. Here is a replica grand belt, and here's some replica suspenders. Nothing special about those whatsoever. Here we got an original M1 grand belt. This is dated, let's see where, gotta find the date here. 1943. I know that kind of looks like it says 1983, but it's 43. Plus they weren't even making grand belts in the 80s. Yeah, so here's the other one I was talking about, the Carlisle bandage pouch. This is a replica, by the way. Here is just a wool blanket, not original. And here's my haversack. I'm not going to pull this out, but M1910 T-handle shovel. This is replica. All of this is replica, except for the mess kit, which is inside there. Is an original 1945 mess kit. Took me a second, but I got it out of there. Yeah, so like I said, this one's original from... The camera never likes to focus on the date. But it says 1945. You can trust me. Alright. Now, the next shelf. Quite the mess, but... Rubberized gas mask bag. This is a bit of a weird color. I might dye that if I ever get a chance. These are my HBT trousers. These have aged really well since I've been using them a lot for trench digging. They're pretty dirty right now, but yeah, that's how it goes. Here's my wool trousers, used for all my videos. Yeah, nothing special. Original wool trousers. And then at the front, replica belt 42. This is a bag from 1943 for the shelter half stakes. And then my shelter half is actually down there, but this is a replica M1 grand bayonet. Then here's a whole web belt setup. I have, this is carbine pouches on an original belt with an original canteen and canteen cover. This one's 1942. And then this is an original shovel with a replica cover on it. So the shovel is actually dated 1945, I believe. Here is a replica canteen cover, and this one I painted a red cross on, which is not accurate, so I don't really use it anymore. And then this is a post-war shovel cover. So They look original. It's not. For the longest time, I thought it was dated 43, but no, it just says M 1943. So yeah, it's post-war because it has this snap tab instead of the button like that. Which this is a pretty low quality shovel cover, so I'm gonna replace that with an original when I get the chance. Here is a replica musette bag. Don't use this a lot, but I have used it before in videos. More original pistol belt. This one is in OD3, so the darker color. Another original carbine pouch in OD3 as well. Yeah. I've just got a lot of web gears, like what makes up my collection for the most part. These are some historically inaccurate bandoliers. I don't use bandoliers in my videos often because these are inaccurate. I need to get some good ones. So post-war, they would put this, like writing on the outside, but during the war it would just look like this, like plain. So that's a little fact. If you're gonna buy those off Amazon, don't. Here, 1911 pistol mag case. Those are some World War I German putties, but those are, of course, replicas. And then a 3-cell Thompson mag case. I don't even know why I have this, but, I do. So, and this is a Marine helmet cover. If I remember correctly, this is the early war kind that had the slits, or it could be late war. I don't really remember. And then, of course, back here is my original shelter half. I made many a video with that. Then these are the poles, original poles. Moving on, we have. Oh boy. So. Here, this is my Denix M1 carbine. I'm not going to show my Grand because I got to pull it out from some other place, but yeah, replica. It's not real, does not fire, so it's pretty nice. I've always liked the Denix stuff. But yeah, very cool, and that's in a ton of my videos. Here, I used to use this in my videos a while ago, but this is just like a toy Springfield. Probably have seen those before, but yeah, it's not real. It's also just a toy. And then back there, I'm not going to pull it out, but it's an original jerry can. Like a lot of the stuff I have, I've made videos on. So, you could really, if you want to see it specifically, you could just scroll through my shorts for a little bit and you could find it. Obviously, not every single item in my collection made it into this video. I have other things like action figures, toys, models, etc. that I just don't keep in my room here, but if I added all that stuff, the video would be way too long. So, thank you for watching, and have a good day.